Hey guys, Ryan Swanson here at District Cutlery. Today I'm going to fix this Shun. Any knife sharpeners out there? We've all seen Shun. Knife nerds, you know them as like the entry-level Japanese knife. Customers love them as sort of like their first Japanese knife. So you got to respect them. There's millions of them out there. But it's good to take care of them and sharpen them properly. Assessing this blade, there's a few things that come to mind. The laminate, these are laminated blades. A Damascus is covering the core of generally VG10. They've got some upgraded steels here and there, but it's generally VG10. This is an older model, so it's definitely VG10. Damascus over a core of VG10. So what you're looking for is a laminate line to differentiate between the softer cladding and the harder core steel. Okay, this edge has been sharpened so much that you can barely see the laminate line. On the other side, you can see it right down in there. All right, sort of hard to see. But because that laminate is close to the edge, that's a telltale sign that this knife has been sharpened over time and not been thinned out, so that the knife does need to be thinned out. Also, you can see this previous sharpener's work. What he did, actually, I love diagnosing previous sharpener's work. It's sort of like the Sherlock Holmes of knife sharpening. You know, what's going on here? All right, this has been convex, so this guy probably put it in the slack of his belt grinder, and that convex. What happens there? It'll put on a tougher edge, but it probably took too much off, and he tried to polish it a little bit up. Also, what's happening is this profile. All right, this knife's coming down here, and then it's swooping up. Okay, and generally you sharpen knives in a machine, and you're hitting the back over time. This starts to creep up. It's like a belt creep. All right. If you don't address that, eventually, every time you sharpen it, it's going to get worse and worse and worse. So the flat profile is going to start coming up, and you have this rocky knife. It just doesn't look cool. All right. So what we're going to do is almost get rid of this belly here. All right. I'm just going to put it flat on the grinder, get rid of this belly, take this up, so that this part is the lowest part here. You see, it starts here, and then it comes down. We're going to get rid of that. So we're going to reprofile it. Then we're going to do a heavy thinning. Get that cladding line out, get rid of this convex edge, which isn't doing anybody any good. And then maybe we can etch it in some ferric chloride or some muriatic acid. Again, I shot a video. I saw Metallica. So my brain's a little foggy from that. But we're going to get to it. So first thing you're going to do, reprofile. Don't start thinning. Just reprofile, get the shape you want. Watch your heat. I got an ice bath. Get mashed up. Okay, this profile platen, I'm going to use this flat part here to reprofile it, okay? And then I'll use the radius to thin. I'm going to use a 60 grit. Headphones. All right, so I'm just going to go for it. Again, I'm going to reprofile sort of like this, keeping it thin. Taking this belly out. Okay, generally, if you're a knife sharpener and you see this blade, okay, let's see how this rests right now on this heel. This is pointed down. That's probably a better. All right, now that's on the heel. See how that's pointed up? Okay, if I bring this handle up a little bit, you can see that space. All right, right back where the heel is. That's no good. Okay, we're gonna get rid of that. So you want to have the handle to look cool, kind of facing, you want it to be up, all right, when it's at rest, not round like this, all right? All right, let's do it. This is a 60 grit. It's worn. If you reprofile with a fresh belt, it's going to eat your belt. Get a worn belt. It'll still do it. I'll cool it off. Keeping an eye on it. Take off a little bit more than you think. That's the problem with it. Now you think, oh, he's taking so much off, but I'm not taking barely anything off of where the choil is. I'm taking it off of the belly, just enough to get it back to its original profile. Again, you want to check profile. Lay the blade flat, point towards you or away, and that's going to judge your profile, okay? If you want to see if it's bent, take a look like this. Shuns are always bent in one way. Oh my god, should have checked that before. Just bend it back a little bit. All right, so now you see, all right, it's flat back here, all right? There's a little bit of a belly. It's not too flat. It's still generally curved. But if I have it lay it down flat now, there you go. It's hitting the entire thing. That handle's slightly up in the back. This is good. It's got a nice, consistent rock. It doesn't come back up like that, how it used to come up, okay? It just comes back normal, okay? That will thin it. You can see this is flat right here now along the edge, so we got to thin that down. We'll see how this Warren 60 does. I might have to get a freshie on here. Okay, this knife isn't so much bent in the blade, but it's bent at the handle. All right, if you want to see if the blade is bent itself, you hold it this way. Again, pretend you're me and you're the eyes, okay? Looking there, the blade is relatively straight. But if you turn it over, all right, now look at that through the handle, and it goes. The handle's here, and the blade curves off this way. So you're going to want to bend it here, but be careful because where this weld is and this bolster is kind of a sensitive point. All right, if you don't feel comfortable with it, don't go too crazy. All right, that's pretty good. Now what's going to happen, now you can't see the laminate line at all right? The laminate is all the way down to the edge, but as I'm grinding, the core steel will slowly start to be revealed. Get a fresh soap, what am I doing? Fresh 60s, they'll eat your steel real fast. Just be careful. But if you're trying to hog off material, don't skimp, okay? Good, thank you. The thing about grinding that Reprofile is to sort of ground away that convex edge already, so we don't have to worry about that. If you haven't seen any of my videos before, I got an ice bath back here. I'm keeping the knife nice and cool, alright? Watch your heat in your sharpener. So that laminate line starting to creep up. It's pretty cool. There's the remnants of that convex edge by the tip, which I didn't grind out because I didn't actually, what's it called? Reprofile it up there, so that convex edge is still there. So I'm just working to get that out. But notice the laminate line, if you look real close, all right, it's above the edge now already, so it's better than it was before originally. This would have been a nice contender for the video we're trying to do, the laminate. You'll see eventually. Now I've sharpened thousands of Shun knives, and you know what, they have a bad reputation because they ship, but they're just ground a little bit too thin, and it feels like the American market wasn't ready for them. Unlike these muscles, I think they need to go to PLC with these blades. Okay, if you're grinding and you're not hitting a spot at the tip, it's probably bent. This knife was bent away. I wasn't hitting the tip, so I need to bend it back towards there. Just like this. Don't overdo it. Just enough. A misconception I found among sharpeners is they don't want to bend Shun because the steel is hard because it's laminated. It's meant to be right. What I'm looking for is to see where this laminate line, how far up this is. Right? It's like right about there now, so just watching it to see how far it was from the factory. And then when I'm satisfied with where that laminate line is, I'm going to cut in a primary edge and then take that down from there. So it's still flat right here from reprofiling. You can see. So once this laminate is high enough, then I'll put on a primary edge, which is pretty close. Reiterating, you do a pass and you look, you do a pass and then you look. Make sure your eyes and your hands are working together. Constant theme. All right, it's pretty close. Laminate there. All right, So now you see where I cut it in. This is like what you call a shinogi. All right, so what I'm going to go for an 80 grit, and then I'm going to end up blending it all in with the progressive belt, so it all has the same finish, okay? So I'll take an 80 grit, just to kind of get those 60 scratches out. I'm sure I've said 100 times, if you start with a fresh belt, use all fresh belts, but we'll see if I can get away with it. Okay, now that I have this line here, all right, this shinogi, what I'm going to do is just kind of, because that's jumping off right now, it's not completely flat this way, so I'm just going to kind of get rid of this line and then blend it all in. Let's create some wedging. Everyone complains about a wedging, even though knives are a wedge, but you try to reduce the wedging as much as possible. And you know what I'll do too is I'll cut in the primary edge rail too. Can't get my belt on, I'm getting distracted. Again, Metallica was amazing last night, Pantera. My kid's only 9, it was his first metal show. Epic. Alright, so where was I? Alright, so 120 grit. I'm going to sharpen the primary edge to cut it in. But you're all ready to do it on stove is just cut it in with a felt, okay? It's no big deal. Alright, so that's cut in right here. It's still flat right there. I'm feeling purple. Okay, now I cut in this primary edge. I got a burr all the way up. Now what I'm going to do is, it's fine, Ozzy. I will polish this on a 120. Well, let's see how wide it is. The primary is a little bit wide. It's a little chunky, so I'll go back to the 80 grit, thin it down more, then I'll work through progressive belts, blend it all in. So I'll go back to 80 grit. Assessing for thickness is all I'm doing. Okay. Alright, that's pretty good. Get my belt on. Just touch up the primary edge right there so I can miss the spot slightly. So this 120 grit now, I'm just going to blend it all in. All right, I'm going to work this where I ground it, but then I'm going to use the flat part of this platen to blend it all in. I'm going to show you what happens. All right, so I'm on the radius. Okay, I'm on the radius down here. When I'm going to go up to the flat part, it's fine, Ozzy. All right, now that's working. Now the whole blade up here is all working in, okay? I might even go back to the 80 and do that. This is a worn 120. I know, use a fresh belt. There, now the whole blade is getting resurfaced, okay? I could have just put on a fresh 120, that would have did it, but I didn't feel like it. But I will put on a fresh 240 to clean all this up, because the fresh 240 silicon carbide, wow, they just like, it's like magic. They don't last long, they'll last like for one. But after that, you know, you can still use for edges, but not so much for fitting and polishing. Taking a long time, or it takes longer when you want to get that nice finish. If you give it back to a customer, you want it to look nice, okay? You want it to look cool. You could just leave it scratched up or whatever, but, you know, take some pride in your work, have it look nice. If you don't have to etch it, you know, you can etch it, that sort of covers some things up, but if you don't etch it, you know, take it up to at least 240, maybe 400. All right, there we go. Let's see, give me 1 second. Picking up.
Yes.
Last name?
Black man. So, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so that's 120 grit. Okay, now I'll go with a fresh 240. Again, it's nice and gloss. Still some scratches on there. but we're looking at that laminate line. Now for sharpening purposes, I've already cut it in with a 120. Okay, it already has a 120 grit belt edge. I could go ahead and like put it on stones, do a bunch of strokes, which I could. For this, what I'm going to do is just, I'm going to polish the blade with a 240. Well, then I'll just like sharpen on the 240 grit. Then I'll finish on maybe a 400 or an A30, and I'll just finish the edge on an A30, and then I'll buff. So if you cut in the edge with a belt, you can finish it with a belt. You don't have to go to stones. The belt edges are generally fine. All right. I said I would use a fresh belt. I'll do it. I'll use a fresh 240. I've got a lot of them. But these go fast. This is like a big expense for your sharpening operation, especially when you do the thinning and detailing that we like to do. You know, these fresh belts are just, it's the cost of doing business. Oh, look how nice this is looking now. Okay? Nice gloss. You can see the laminate line. You can see on those layers of Damascus. 240 silicon carbides. They're awesome. If only they lasted. Oh, this is looking nice and clean. So there you go. Again, I'll put the primary edge on with this 240 grit belt. Real quick. Always touch it up a little bit more. This looks great. All right, this looks awesome. So I'll just put a final edge on the A30. Actually, you see these little spots right along the spine. It's kind of bare where the belt wouldn't hit because it's from the factory ground inward a little bit. So I have a Scotch-Brite belt. Scotch-Brite. It's a Scotch-Brite. Scotch-Brite belts are nice for cleaning any of the like imperfections in the blade. If you don't have to use them, they sort of like clean up your mistakes. I don't really have any mistakes on this blade. But just where that from the factory didn't hit, you just kind of clean it up. Now I'm gonna have the edge going up into this thing, but it's gonna come like this. But the edges are gonna be in it, so you probably can't see that. Don't cut your belt. Keep the edge away from it. Yeah. Yes. All right, honestly, this looks great. I'll finish it up with an A30 grit. Trizac. These 3M. This is Trizac 237 AA. It's an A30, 30 micron. It's got a funny little robot on there. I get these from Super Grit. Shout out to Super Grit. Really nice belts. This is the primary edge that I'm sharpening. And once you have that, just go ahead and take the burr off. This is my felt belt with blue compound. Blue is nice. The blue compound, real quick. The blue compound, it puts a great polish on, but why I like it is that it's clean. Some of the other compounds, whatever, they leave a residue or an oil or some grease. If you're doing a bunch, if you're doing 100 knives a day, you don't want to take the time to have to rub that grease off of the edge, okay? So this is clean. It just takes a little rub and it's fine. So again, it might put up a little dust because it's not so greasy, but not having to clean that grease off like some of the green compounds I've used or whatever. So the blue, trusty blue. Deburring. I'm just getting the burr off from that Trizac grill, which are good. If you want, you can polish a little bit down by your edge on the core steel, maybe clean that up a little bit. So your customers can see a nice, kind of shiny knife. How am I judging for sharpness? The free finger test of sharpness. I deburr and my fingers are on the blade. I'm feeling it like this. Okay, that way, maybe this part's clean, but this part still has a burr, okay? This feels nice. A little paddle strap low. Where is it? On the paddle strap, I've got some gunny juice, 1 micron, I believe, still. Clean rag. Don't go through the whole process of thinning a blade and cleaning it up and then using a dirty rag with steel dust on it, or you'll scratch your cladding. All right, here we are, reprofiled. All right, up to 240 grit, silicon carbide on the finish. You can go higher. Try a 400. I could have done the A30, but it looks nice right now. You could take it up, see where it gets you. But I'm happy with how this looks. So, Shun VG10, reprofiled, thinned. Again, radius platens. They'll be in by the end of this week. I'll keep you posted on that. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like it, share it with your knife nerd friends. That's all I got for this one. Again, quick and easy. It was maybe a 20-minute job. You can probably charge 30, 40 bucks for this if you really want to get in it. But they're getting a brand new knife for 30 or 40 bucks. So enjoy, like, share. Check out our website, great new deals. Get on our email list for our knife giveaway. And stay tuned for more videos. Thanks, guys.